What's good, everyone? Welcome back to the Bearcat Den. It's Michael.
And Victoria back again with your weekly sports podcast covering NBA, NFL, MLB, and any other sports leagues.
Let's jump right in.
So, since the last episode, we gave our predictions for the 76ers and the Knicks series. And my prediction was correct. Knicks in 6. And now they have advanced to the Pacers. We are already 2 games into the series already, being their third game on Friday, May 10th. And the Knicks are up 2-0 on the series. They head to Indiana to face the Pacers at home. I think that the momentum from the Garden carries over into Indiana, and the Knicks will end up winning the third game in Indiana. But I think that the fourth game of the series, I think the Knicks do lose one out of the 2. But again, also last night with OG and Anunoby getting hurt with a strained hamstring, which was big, considering he was one of the leading scorers of the game with 22 points. And he was going off the first half when Brunson went down, which all gave us a scare. But he managed to come back and just do his thing in the second half. What are your thoughts?
I mean, first off, we have to hand it to Brunson because he scored 29 points that game and 24 were after he hurt himself.
Mm-hmm.
So at least we know, it was a scare for a minute, but at least he came back, which is crucial because we've talked before that the Knicks rely on their key players to do well. So that's why, at least we still have Brunson. And Anunoby hurting himself, concerns me a little bit. But I think, if they still have Brunson and everyone else, still performs as they have been, then I think, they should be fine.
I mean, I feel like with Anunoby, he needs to play because he's the one who brings the defensive purpose to the team. I don't know, they might tell him to take the game off on Friday, but
I hope not.
I mean, me too, but listen, you gotta do what you gotta do at this point. But good thing it was a strain rather than something more major.
Yeah.
Because if it was major, then I could have said that the Knicks probably lose the 2 in Indiana. But we're already down, 3 guys already? Mitchell Robinson's done for the season, apparently. Bojan Bogdanovic is done for the season. And Julius Randle's done for the season. And I had an issue with one of the 76er games. I think it was the 6th game, I want to say.
Mm.
It was that they ran a 7-man rotation, which I do not think is very smart. Because you've been running an 8-man rotation throughout the whole series. Whether it's playing your starting 5 over 40-plus minutes, I would want to say. And that outside of Hartenstein. And now you can't do that anymore because Alec Burks hasn't played in 6 games. And who are you going to start? Shake Milton? I understand, but I'm just not a fan of it.
Yeah, and I think we saw that game, that it's not necessarily this. They ended up doing fine, but it was a close game. I didn't think they were going to win. And I think that's just a testament how close it was the entire time, that it wasn't the smartest move. Like you said, I can see it to an extent, but this isn't the time to switch up what you're doing in ways that aren't a guarantee to benefit you. And I don't think this is at the point they should be messing with the rotation they've been consistently using.
I mean, I feel like the only time they really messed with the rotation was when Brunson went down for the rest of the first half. And then, they played Alec Burks a little bit here and there, but we saw that he was truly missed because when he was out, they were down by 10. And I even said it last episode, if Brunson goes down, they lose.
Yeah. No,
and
I agree.
I think that if Brunson would have stayed out for the rest of the game, they would have lost that game in the Garden. And then potentially being down 3-1, and then you have to pull off a miracle. But the odds of that happening would be slim to none on that. But thank God we're not in that situation now. But I do think that if something does happen again, God forbid, I don't know if McBride could step up in being somewhat Brunson brings to the team because he did play 20 minutes last night and he only had 4 points on 4 shots. And 2 of his points came from free throws. Like, your team needs you the most. You need to be the best that you can be. Opposed to Acho, on the other hand, he made the most out of his 28 minutes. He was 4 for 5 with 8 points and 5 boards. So, I think he did fine, Acho, but I'm not sure about McBride.
Yeah, I don't think he's comparable to Brunson at all. Which is fine as long as Brunson is playing. You know what I'm saying?
No, yeah, I'm not saying that McBride has to be anywhere what Brunson is, but I think that he needs to be more of a facilitator. Because when Brunson came back in, I truthfully thought that he was just out there to scare them. Like, but it seems like that he was alright. I think that the Knicks do take it, but in 5. What do you think?
I could see that. I think they have a good chance, but I do think that Anunoby not playing would lower that chance like significantly, and I don't think he's gonna play Game 3.
Listen, I'm not expecting him to play Game 3 either, so I think that's why I have that one loss in there. But even though I said earlier that they're going to win Game 3, but
I don't think they are.
I could see that. But the thing is that if he's out for their time in Indiana, I think it goes to Game 7.
Yeah.
And that's how big of a difference Anunoby is. Because he brings that defense to the team with that touch of offense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, a hamstring injury isn't like a quick
Recovery.
Like, you need actual rest time.
At least a week.
Even if it's just a strain, like. So I don't think he's gonna play Game 3 or even.
I think he does play Game 4, but on a limited time count.
Yeah, I think it's iffy.
Because the thing is that I can see Achua getting more minutes out of there. And you're moving Hart to the 3, I would say. Achua to the 4. But again, that you're running a 6-man rotation right there, realistically speaking. That's what they did yesterday. When Anunoby went down, they ran a 6-man rotation. I understand they still pulled away, but
Yeah.
Brunson came back and stole the show.
That's what I'm saying, like, they always have, like, a chance. I only think they're fine on the 6-man rotation last night because Brunson came back and didn't just come back and, like, take a sideline. Like you said, like, he stole the show. I think that's the only reason that worked, though. So as long as, like, they have their few players that always give their all and it's productive, they're fine with majority of the decisions they make. But once they start losing that, that's when they run into problems. So as long as, you know, Brunson's there, then I think, like, losing Anunoby for a game or 2, they could be okay.
My only question is, when is the gas going to run out? Because these guys are playing every single minute of this game. For example, Josh Hart, I don't think he sat out at all throughout the first 2 series, I want to say. Like, he's got to be gassed right now. And just to repeat that again tomorrow, obviously he's a dog, he'll do it, but when is his body going to say, all right, like, I can't do this right now?
Sometime soon. It's the problem with the Knicks is they do well because they rely too heavily on the players that do well.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? It's not like a collective team effort in the sense that you could throw anybody in there and be all right.
I mean, yeah, your main team is your 5-man rotation.
Yeah.
For right now, and like...
Which is great, like you said, like they're gonna do it until, you know...
Like, God forbid if somebody else gets hurt. Who are you gonna put in? Alec Burks? Jericho Sims? I don't know if I would even consider that to be, like, a bench. Because right now your bench is Achua, McBride, Burks, Sims, Jeffries, Milton, and Yakite. You know what I realized, too? In the beginning of the season, DiVincenzo, Hart, and Hartenstein were all on the bench. That was their bench.
Yeah.
And then now it's their starting five. That's impressive in my eyes, but what do you do with your bench now? Like, don't get me wrong, I still think the Knicks are going to win the series, but, like, I'm just being negative for, like, a second. Like, I'm not taking away the credit that Brunson's been doing, Hartenstein's been doing, DiVincenzo, Hart, and Anunoby. I'm not taking any of that away, but just, like, it can't slip your mind for a second.
Yeah, no, you still have to be, like, realistic about the hypotheticals.
Exactly.
That aren't so hypothetical. They very well could be reality. That's the problem.
Mm-hmm. This is going to sound crazy, but T.J. McConnell's a threat. Big time to the Knicks. He's been playing really well the last two games. And final game against the Miami Heat, I think he's a sneaky play that, like, they need to look out for. Because I don't think Toppin's dropping 20 again. Ben Shepherd, don't think that he'll be a big threat. But I do think McConnell is.
Yeah, I agree. I think if they play him more, they are a threat. But the thing is, like, that only depends on if they play him more. I don't think, like, the Pacers overall really pose a huge threat. Unless they, like, I think they saw in this past game, putting, like, McConnell in, like, he is kind of, like, their one and only, like, secret weapon.
Mm-hmm.
That can, like, match, like, what the Knicks put out there offensively. So I think if they play him a little bit more, then it, like, adds a little bit of pressure.
Mm-hmm. And also the things that we also held Miles Turner to 6 points. In the last game, he had over 20. And he could shoot the 3-ball. And I think Hartenstein did a great job against Miles Turner. And I think we need to see that throughout the rest of the series. Because Halliburton's very inconsistent throughout the playoffs. Siakam's been somewhat consistent for the most part. And Miles Turner has really kind of been the only consistent one outside of this game, but because he just couldn't get going. But I think that if they do hold Turner to a game like Game 2 throughout the series, it would be looking heavily in the favor of the Knicks.
I agree.
But otherwise, I'm not worried about Obi Toppin, Isaiah Jackson, Ben Shepherd, Aaron Nesmith, and Andrew Nembhard. And I'm kind of not scared of Halliburton, to be honest. Yeah, he might have dropped 34 in Game 2, but I don't think he's doing that again.
No, and he didn't even, like, attempt in the third quarter of last night's game anyways. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's not, like, a reliable threat. Like, okay, like, he moves, you know, like, he plays, but I don't think he's anything to, like, take notice of, per se.
I feel like most of his points came in, like, garbage time, like, fourth quarter.
Yeah.
And then, I don't know if you saw, like, towards the end of the game, Rick Carousel got kicked out of the game. That is the Pacers head coach, which is kind of funny. And then his presser was even funnier, because he said, oh, we're a small market team, and we want the same chance as a big market team. Like, the calls. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you, that's lame. Like, you're really, like, as a coach, that's lame, man. Even the players didn't say that. They disagreed with him.
Yeah.
Halliburton went on the podium. He's like, they just outplayed us. They played harder. Like, we need to play harder. Same thing with McConnell. McConnell was like, no.
Because that's a silly... I'm using the word silly to be nice. It's a silly thing to say, like, that the market is affecting your ability to play. That shouldn't be a thing. To be a head coach and be like, oh, we're a small market team playing against, like, what, the big league New Yorkers, like, that shouldn't affect the way your players are playing on the court.
And to be fair, we played like shit for the last 30 years.
Yeah,
outside
we're
of
not like a great team.
outside of that Mellow run, but
yeah,
that's about it. Like, Knicks have been shit for the last 30 somewhat years.
This is the first time since 1970 that 3 players like scored over, I think, 25 in a playoff game, like 1970. I mean, the argument's not there. The argument's not there.
Yeah.
And I'd be embarrassed.
It's pretty low.
I'd be embarrassed to not only lose and then have my coach come up and say that, like,
To the media. Nonetheless.
Take the loss quietly, reassess, and come back next time and play better.
Agreed. Like, listen, not every ref is perfect.
No.
But, like, it happens, honestly. Just because it's the, quote-unquote, the Knicks and New York, it's a big market, like, what is that going to do with anything?
Yeah.
And if that was to do with something, that should apply to all sports, then. Like.
And it doesn't.
Yeah. So, according to Carousel, I'm assuming, yeah, like, they should favor us more than New York. Alright, if that was the case, why didn't the Jets get their first rough in the passer call in, 5 years, I would say?
Yeah.
Opposed to, like, the first time being this year, but, like, that's something completely unrelated, but you get what I'm saying, though?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
it doesn't apply.
Like, I hate it when people say, like, oh, it's the New York market, like...
The New York teams aren't that great.
It has a partial influence, but I don't think it's the full influence.
No, definitely not.
Like, if it's one team I can say that it has somewhat influence on, probably the Yankees, because they're actually good in and out, and obviously they get the most media attention in New York, I would say, personally.
I agree with that.
Besides, like, the Knicks a little bit, but it's not as high as it is for the Yankees, because the Yankees have been more consistent.
Mm-hmm.
The Knicks have been good in, the last 2 years?
Yeah.
3 years, pushing. It's just terrible. Poor excuses.
Play the tiny violin. Like...
Literally.
The small town sob story doesn't work.
Yeah.
When there's no, like, statistical anything to back it up.
Just admit that, like, you got outplayed.
You got outplayed! It happens. Move on.
Clearly he didn't take that route. Kicking it over from the court to the ice in MSG. The New York Rangers are up 2-0 against the Carolina Hurricanes. And they play Game 3 tonight, being May 9th at 7. The Rangers are currently 6-0 in their playoff run so far. They swept the Capitals, and now they are heading to Carolina to play Hurricanes tonight. I think that the Rangers take the series in 5. I don't want to say 4. I'm being generous here. But I do think we lose one in Carolina, whether it's today or on Saturday. Last game, Alexis Lafreniere had 2 goals with an Aaron goal, following up with a Vincent Trocheck goal in the second overtime with the final score of 4-3. And then the game before that, Mika Zibanejad had 2 goals. He had 1 assist. Trocheck had a goal.
Yeah, and Trocheck has scored 5 goals in 6 games. Which, he's been at least consistent on that.
Trocheck scoring in the double overtime, that was massive because I personally thought that we were going to lose that game because we had so many opportunities to win this game. Zibanejad was right in front of the goalie, not even 4 feet away. He could have snuck the puck in, but he decided to pass it back. Don't know why he did that, but it's okay. Panarin also had a shot on goal that went in too, which bounced off right over the post. I think Kreider had one too, I want to say. He had an opportunity to score, but he didn't. But also, I give credit to Shesterkin.
I was just going to say
100%. Having 54 saves.
On 57 shots is not bad at all.
That's amazing.
It's amazing. I mean, he's a key factor in what's been working for them, evidently.
Agreed. Like, I think that Shesterkin is a life of the team, I want to say. And I don't know if you saw, but Shesterkin got knocked down when he was getting the puck from behind the net, and it led it into a brawl to a point where Shesterkin went up to like center ice to confront about like what the hell was that, but then they sent him back to like the goalpost, or else Anderson would have came in and like did something too. But D'Angelo, he was a former Ranger too, and Keandre Miller were going at it on their bench, and D'Angelo was like, "I'll fight you anytime, any place." On the ice, so I was expecting another brawl out to happen between them two, but they didn't. They kept it civil.
For once.
But overall, like, I thought that we were going to lose that game big time because of how long it was taking. There were so many opportunities to win that game, and we haven't capitalized it. One thing I'm happy about is that they didn't get too trigger happy, as the sense of just letting it get to them and just make dumb shots, and they weren't haywire. Like, Jonathan Quick, the backup goalie, he told them after the first overtime, like, just stick to the game plan, it's gonna work, and like, don't go haywire. And it did. What are your thoughts on the Rangers and Hurricanes game tonight?
I think it's slightly up in the air, considering only like how, like you said, long it took last time they played, but I think we still have I think we'll win. I just think it might take a minute. And I think as long as we play, well, ideally we'd play better than we played game 2, but as long as we don't play worse, I think we stand a shot. But I do think, considering how many missed opportunities there were to score more in game 2, that repeating those same mistakes in game 3 can actually result in a loss.
Agreed. And then also the thing is that, like, I don't know why the Hurricanes did this, but they're pulling Anderson out of the net tonight and playing Kovacevic tonight. Like, I don't think that's a smart idea for them, despite his record, but...
I don't know if they're trying to... Okay, when we were talking about the Knicks, we were talking about how much steam do these players have left before they, start to decline a little bit in performance if they're playing the whole time on the same rotation. I don't know if maybe that's where the logic is, switching out Anderson and Konchakov, because he hasn't played since April 14th. So I don't know if it's this idea like, oh, he'll be fresh and like good to go. I think that's like a big risk to take on that assumption though. Like that's the only logic I can see. But I don't think it's the safest. Sometimes the safest option is the smartest option.
Like, yeah, I understand in 2 games he gave, well, in the second round, he gave up 8 goals. But Shesterkin gave up 6. But you don't see us pulling Shesterkin from that.
Exactly.
No, you don't
That's
do
what
that.
I'm saying.
You keep the guys in to be consistent, rather than switching them out. Like, yeah, you're doing bad. And if they lose tonight, what's gonna happen? They're gonna go back to Anderson. Like, that's why I think if the Rangers win, and then also tonight the Rangers have activated Philip Keetle. He's been out for majority of the season with a head injury, so that's a big addition back. So maybe he'll be on the second line tonight. Not sure, but overall, like, Rangers' offense has been solid for the most part, outside of the 2 overtimes. But he hasn't played a game since November 2nd. And ironically, it was against the Hurricanes. But I think the key to winning this series is coming out hot on offense. But I do think the Rangers end up winning the series. 100%. But the thing is that next round, if we do advance, we would either have to face the Bruins or the Panthers. And I don't want to play the Panthers. I think the Bruins are the easier team.
I agree.
And I think that if we do play the Bruins, we're winning it. We're winning that series and going up to the final. Like, during the regular season, they're right behind us, being in second place with 111 goals. and we only have 3 more. And we have 3 more wins, but again, they are a high-powering offense. And it's a big gap from second to third, being the Islanders were 94. But it just shows how fast-paced they are on offense. Like, we're on the same level, but the difference is that we have the better goalie than they do, in my opinion.
And that is a wrap. Thank you for listening to this week's episode of the Bearcat Den. Make sure you tune in next week for more. See ya.